Deadly Tarantula Girl coming to you from my private serpentarium. Pardon the background noise, the ambiance. That is a fan and AC running because it is 104 degrees outside. And as much as I love you guys, I am not gonna let my animals die in a fiery inferno. So yeah, there's gonna be a little bit of background noise today. A little shout out to Ahmad Osman over at Aussie Bowards, loving his swag. I'll put a link in the description box below if you are an Aussie Bowards fan and you want to rock one of his shirts. Tonight I'm doing a special video. I've got one of my beautiful Vivs here, which probably should have been scrubbed out a little bit better since the last time I used it. It just has some mineral stains, but anyway, this is an invert that I have never shown before. It is a new acquisition and one that I think you will find very exciting. So without any further ado, let's take a look. This is a somewhat creepy arachnid. They move super fast and they are absolutely alien looking. This is Damon Diadema. Ah, it's so fast. Whew, it's got some wiggly. It's wiggling. So you can see I'm being very careful not to crush its beautiful antenna. These are, there are not a subspecies, a different species of these, native to the southwest. This is an African species. They hail from like the eastern coast into Kenya and Tanzania, if I'm not mistaken. They are also known as cave spiders or tailless whip scorpions. People call them all kinds of stuff. And they are very strange. They are fairly large. Their bodies grow to about 1.5 to 2 inches. And unlike tarantulas, these animals never have an ultimate molt. They continue growing throughout their lifespan. This is a beautiful large arachnid with the bodies growing to be about 1.5 to 2 inches. Unlike tarantulas, they do not have an ultimate molt in which they reach maturity and stop growing. They actually continue molting throughout their lifetime, which is significant. 10 to 20 years. I know there have been some documented living over 15 years, which is pretty unusual. They are often cave dwelling, although many of them do live in jungle or savanna type areas, although typically they prefer a higher humidity. They can dry out, although it's not very recommended. That can be fatal. So I recommend keeping them on peat moss, cocoa fiber, other things that are going to hold moisture. And although they're cave dwelling, they are essentially arboreal. So they do like cork and other flat horizontal things that they can kind of chill out on in their enclosures. Since they are larger, they do need a little more space and less ventilation. You would never want to keep them in like a mesh cage or anything like that. And you would might want to carefully consider a completely screened top. If you're in a really dry area or you have the heater running, for example, a mesh top like this, if I felt the need, I might cover half of it with a saran wrap or plexiglass or something. Although these enclosures are meant to, because of all the moss and everything, I think that they'll hold enough humidity. I miss those regularly. So obviously I'll have to wait and see how the animal's doing and how dry and how humid it is. They are carnivorous. They do eat smaller invertebrates, so in captivity that's going to be roaches, crickets, things of that nature. Because they are wetter, things do tend to grow fungus and spores, bacteria, things like that. So you'll need to mind the hygiene of the enclosure fairly carefully. Some people like isopods, and the Diadema don't tend to eat the isopods because they're just kind of too small to hassle with. They are fast and a little bit skittish, So you want to be careful because they tend to kind of quickly move to the side, which does startle people, and obviously this animal will run right off of your hand. So I decided to use one of my round vivs that I got from E-Squared, which I love these vivs and use them every chance I get. I actually have a small colony of parthenogenic geckos in another one, which I'll be showing you guys soon. Another thing is definitely make sure that you have those horizontal cork or bark or something, because not only are they more comfortable often in a horizontal position, but they actually suspend when they molt. And as you know, if they cannot molt properly, you know, the animal will essentially not survive to the next stage of its life. Oh, another thing that's kind of cute is the mother does take care of the babies kind of like a scorpion mom. And when they're born, they're just sort of like white and see-through and weird, which I think is really neat. And then as they molt after that, they become, you know, they get their full exoskeleton to look like a teeny tiny adult. So that's just fun. They do not necessarily need heat. They're pretty comfortable in the mid-70s, although they can tolerate some temperature fluctuations. And so don't worry about putting full spectrum light or heat on these guys, unless maybe like your invert rooms in your garage in the wintertime and it's chilly or something. They can tolerate some cooler temps than most humid or tropical invertebrates. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning about Damon Diadema. This is a beautiful, amazing animal, one that I personally enjoy quite a lot, and hope you guys did too. Comment your questions below, and I'll see you guys soon.